President Trump has recently declined to rule out a potential recession in the United States. Speaking in an interview with Maria Bartiromo on Fox News, he characterized the current economic climate as a period of transition. Trump maintains that his policies are designed to bring wealth back to America. However, he acknowledged that such economic transformations take time. The president's comments have done little to quell growing anxieties about a looming recession. Only time will tell what the ultimate impact of Trump's policies will be. President Trump's recent tariff hikes have further inflamed trade tensions with key trading partners. Last week, he imposed a 25% tariff on imports from Mexico and Canada, while also doubling tariffs on Chinese goods to 20%. These aggressive moves are part of Trump's ongoing trade war, which he believes is necessary to protect American jobs and businesses. The tariffs have been met with swift condemnation from businesses and industry groups, who argue that they will ultimately harm American consumers and businesses. The tariffs are already having a ripple effect throughout the global economy, disrupting supply chains and raising prices for consumers. Despite the backlash, Trump has remained defiant, insisting that his tariffs are necessary to force trading partners to make concessions. He has even threatened to impose further tariffs if countries do not comply with his demands. The president's hardline stance has raised concerns about a potential trade war that could have devastating consequences for the global economy. As the trade war escalates, businesses and consumers are left to grapple with the uncertainty and instability it creates. The tariffs are just one piece of Trump's broader America First agenda, which prioritizes American interests above all else. Trump's tariff hikes have not gone unanswered. Canada retaliated by imposing tariffs on $20.5 billion worth of U.S. exports, with threats of further measures. China also responded with tariffs on U.S. goods and is preparing another round of retaliatory tariffs. These actions highlight the global backlash against Trump's protectionist trade policies. The escalating trade war has disrupted global supply chains and created uncertainty in international markets. Businesses are grappling with rising costs and logistical challenges, while consumers face higher prices for everyday goods. The tit-for-tat tariff measures threaten to undermine global trade and economic growth. The European Union has also expressed concerns over Trump's tariffs and is considering retaliatory measures. The EU, along with other U.S. allies, argues that Trump's tariffs violate international trade rules and harm the global economy. The escalating trade tensions have strained diplomatic relations and raised fears of a global trade war. As the trade war intensifies, the world watches with bated breath. The potential consequences of a full-blown trade war are significant, with the risk of a global recession looming large. Global markets have reacted nervously to Trump's tariff moves and recession comments. The S&P 500, a key indicator of U.S. stock market health, plummeted by over 3% last week, marking its worst performance since September. This decline reflects growing investor anxiety over the potential impact of a trade war on corporate profits and economic growth. The Dow Jones Industrial Average and the Nasdaq Composite also experienced significant drops, indicating broad-based market pessimism. Investors are particularly concerned about the impact of tariffs on industries heavily reliant on global trade, such as manufacturing and technology. The market volatility highlights the fragility of the global economy and the interconnectedness of international markets. Adding to the market anxiety, the Atlanta Federal Reserve has downgraded its first quarter 2025 GDP estimate. Initially projecting a 2.3% expansion, they now predict a 2.4% contraction. This revision reflects the growing belief that Trump's trade policies could tip the U.S. economy into recession. Goldman Sachs, a leading global investment bank, has also increased its recession probability forecast for the next 12 months from 15% to 20%. Despite the market turmoil, Trump has downplayed the significance of the stock market decline, stating, "You have to do what's right." However, the president's words have done little to calm investor nerves, as uncertainty and volatility grip global markets. Adding to the uncertainty surrounding the U.S. economy are conflicting statements from within Trump's own administration. While President Trump expresses reluctance to rule out a recession, other officials remain adamant in their optimism. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, for example, dismissed recession concerns, expressing unwavering confidence in Trump's strategy. Lutnick went so far as to declare, "There's going to be no recession in America," predicting the greatest set of growth coming from America in the coming 2 years. This stark contrast in messaging underscores the lack of consensus within the administration regarding the potential economic fallout of Trump's policies. Further fueling the confusion, Fox News anchor Maria Bartiromo, during her interview with President Trump, claimed that he inherited a mess from the previous administration. This statement directly contradicts expert consensus, which points to a stable economy and decreasing inflation under President Biden. The conflicting narratives emanating from the White House only serve to heighten uncertainty and erode public trust. With such divergent viewpoints within the administration itself, businesses and consumers are left to navigate the economic landscape with limited guidance and a sense of unease. Employment landscape, a glimmer of hope amidst uncertainty. Amidst the swirl of recession fears and trade war anxieties, the U.S. employment landscape offers a glimmer of hope. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that the U.S. economy added 151,000 jobs in January 2025. While slightly below economists' forecasts, this figure remains consistent with the 2024 average, suggesting continued, albeit modest, job growth. However, it is crucial to note that the January jobs report does not yet reflect the full impact of Trump's recently escalated tariff measures. The true effect of these protectionist policies on U.S. employment will likely become clearer in the coming months. Furthermore, some economists caution against interpreting the current employment data with excessive optimism. They argue that the trade war's potential to disrupt global supply chains and dampen business investment could ultimately lead to job losses, particularly in manufacturing and export-oriented industries. While the current employment picture provides a modicum of reassurance, it is essential to remain vigilant and closely monitor the evolving economic landscape. The potential long-term impact of Trump's trade policies on U.S. jobs remains a subject of considerable debate and uncertainty. President Trump's recent actions on trade rekindle memories of his past rhetoric. In 2018 he tweeted, "Trade wars are good and easy to win. The reality has proven far more complex. Both countries have experienced economic pain. The world watches closely to see if Trump will adjust his approach." America First protectionism at the heart of the policy. Trump's recent actions on trade are directly aligned with his America First policy, the cornerstone of his presidency. This doctrine prioritizes U.S. interests above all else, advocating for protectionist measures to shield American businesses and workers from foreign competition. Trump's tariffs, therefore, are not merely a negotiating tactic, but a central element of his broader economic and political strategy. The America First policy resonates with a segment of the U.S. population that feels left behind by globalization and threatened by economic competition from countries like China. Trump has successfully tapped into this sentiment, portraying himself as a defender of American jobs and industries against unfair trade practices. However, critics argue that the America First policy is ultimately self-defeating. They contend that protectionist measures like tariffs harm U.S. consumers through higher prices and limit choices. Moreover, they argue that such policies damage the U.S. economy in the long run by discouraging innovation and hindering global competitiveness. The current trade war and the specter of a recession highlight the potential downsides of the America First approach. As the U.S. retreats from global engagement and embraces protectionism, the global economy suffers, and the risk of a broader economic downturn increases. Conclusion: navigating the uncertain waters of Trump's trade policy. President Trump's tariff tango has sent shockwaves through the global economy, leaving businesses, investors, and everyday citizens grappling with uncertainty and anxiety. His refusal to rule out a recession, coupled with escalating trade tensions and conflicting messages from his administration, has created a climate of unease and apprehension. While Trump remains steadfast in his belief that his America First policies are essential to protect American jobs and interests, the potential consequences of his actions are significant. The global trade war he has ignited threatens to undermine global economic growth and usher in a period of prolonged stagnation. As the world watches with bated breath, the coming months will be critical in determining the ultimate impact of Trump's tariff policies. Will his gamble pay off, leading to a more favorable trade landscape for the U.S., or will it backfire, pushing the global economy into a recession? Only time will tell. One thing is certain: the global economy is navigating uncharted waters, and the stakes have never been higher.